We're on.
Welcome to the Tuesday, September 20th Planning Board meeting. Today on the agenda, we have two items, review minutes from August 16th, and we are going to work on the sign bylaw. So this is not going to be fascinating viewing, folks. But we hope you're interested. So did everyone have a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Second.
Read.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, so on to the sign bylaw draft. So what I did here was focus on trying to make it clearer. And I found when we were working on bylaws before, the sort of the heavy-duty markup draft, it was really good to have it. When it got right down to working with it at a meeting, I found it to be really unwieldy. So in thinking about this, what I decided to do was do up with this draft and then just go through it step by step. And a lot of the sections, there's no change at all. And then there are some changes, and I'll just, starting at the beginning, go through what those are, okay? So the first change that I had as a question mark was 6.8.3, under definitions. There's two ideas here. One is option A, where you would just list the definitions, A, B, C, D, et cetera, so that it's really clear to whoever's reading the bylaw that there are definitions at the beginning of the bylaw that they need to look at. The other option is to just write out the definitions. So, that's something you can, if you have a decision on that already, let me know. If you want to think about it, that's fine too. Okay?
Writing out the definitions, even if it's a little redundant, doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Okay.
No, and I liked it too. I mean, it's, we know them because we work with them, but I think anybody who comes in and is talking, wants to bring us something, they know what they're talking about.
Then you don't
Because
have to
I
flip back
thought it
and
was really
forth.
good.
I think for new board members also, it's just very clear.
And that helped too.
So, all right, so that's that. In the definitions themselves, I added parapet wall because that's caused board members trouble in the past. So, that's a definition I thought about adding in there. Any thoughts about that?
Seems fine.
Thank you.
I did have a question about the billboard, though. For some reason, I didn't think billboards, I guess it's just in my head, that billboards weren't allowed in Stockbridge to begin with.
They're not, but because they're referenced, there's a definition for them.
But we wouldn't say, oh, because it's under
Right,
definition.
signs or
These are
billboards.
definitions.
So where else is it that it's,
Under general regulations,
General
H,
regulations.
they show billboards.
I don't have an H, I got a G.
That's the draft, but we're looking at the old one and changing.
Oh, I thought we were looking at the new one.
We are, but.
Yes, but you got to compare it to
Wording
the,
from
yeah.
the old one to the new one. So in the old one, it references billboards. Here it doesn't. But
No permanent, non-accessory signs.
So, so why don't we, Nancy, I think what we were, thinking about for this was just starting by, I'll make a note that, what's your question on the billboard thing?
That I didn't think they were allowed. But it says it on the old one, but I don't see it. So let me go on.
We have an old definition for billboards, so I'm going to make a note of that and sort of look at it a little bit more carefully, okay?
Yeah, I just didn't
Yeah.
want to have it buried somewhere and say, oh, yeah, the very end. Oh, yeah, no, they're not allowed.
All right, so, moving right along under the sign definition, and that's on my page 2, you'll see C. In the past, we've had a little bit of confusion about directional signs, so I was thinking we might actually it's, under C, it says note, and this is in the old bylaw, a business name, organization name, or other name, text, or logo is considered advertising matter. So I was actually wondering whether we should maybe pull that out as a directional definition, a separate definition.
I'm sorry, where is it in the
That's under C on page 2.
point? Well, I got it on the new one, but
Nancy, look at the,
I'm getting confused between the old one and the new
okay,
one.
you can look at either, because this is in the old version.
Where in the old version, I
Yeah,
think
that's
is the
that.
section.
It's under, if you go to definitions, under sign, so are you looking, if you look at the
I see it
draft?
here, but we're trying to find it in the old one,
Okay, hold on a second.
just to see the difference.
Yeah. Well, you have to go to definitions. You'd have to go to the beginning of the bylaw to definitions, because we're in the definitions.
General guidelines.
So the definitions are in the beginning of the bylaw on page, starting on, for me, page 5, section 2.
Oh,
Okay.
That's right here.
So if you're wanting to look at the original, you'd want to have your zoning bylaw open,
Oh, it's not under sign by law.
section 2.
Here we go.
Definitions are at the beginning of the zoning bylaw.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
That would
you
lie.
know. Okay, and then, so what I did was I pulled out all the relevant definitions for the sign bylaw, okay?
Oh, I got it.
Got it? Can you show, Nancy, are you all oriented? Okay,
Because it's in bold, I have my glasses.
Right. So you're
Oh,
on
page 14. Oh, because I found her side, page 5.
okay. So it's actually page 14, right? Thank you, Liz.
I brought my glasses this time.
Wearing mine. All right, so I'm going to leave open as a question whether, how people feel about having a separate directional definition. Okay. All right, so then if you go to page 3 of the draft, I added, the simple equation to convert from inches to feet, because we often get the applications in inches and the bylaws written in for square feet. So, that's just something that I've often had the sense that people weren't quite sure whether an application met the bylaw. So that just sort of makes that a little bit easier. Any thoughts on that,
Works for me. I mean, if that-
Wayne?
Yeah,
it
sure.
explains it. I didn't have to Google it.
That's fine.
Okay,
I especially enjoy the quadrangle.
Can we back up just a second?
sure.
Back to the sign area on
Yep.
page 2,
Yeah,
A, down the bottom.
yeah. There's no change, Nancy, between the original definition
Right.
and that.
Right, I was just questioning if someone has, a glass window, right, in the front of their shop, and they put lettering on it that's not outlined, is the window frame the outline then of the sign?
We'll get to that.
Oh,
So, actually, no. So that section A
yeah,
addresses that. And what it says is that the area of a sign shall be considered to include all lettering, wording, and accompanying designs and symbols, together with the background on which they are displayed. Sorry, go up one, go to sign accessory. Do you see that?
a sign that is not an accessory sign.
So signs located, the last sentence of sign accessory Signs located inside a building which are visible from outside the building are subject to all restrictions contained herein as to size and number of signs permitted. Okay?
But does that,
But it doesn't include the window,
No,
which is what
no.
Nancy's asking.
That was my
Yeah.
question, because it says in the sign area under A, it said any frame around the sign and any cutouts or extensions, but
Right.
You could make the argument that that is a sign though,
yes, because it's the
because it's
outline.
inside. You said any signs inside the building.
right?
So that is inside the building.
Well, it's under accessory sign. So,
Okay,
yeah,
accessory
it's
sign.
accessory.
So define an accessory sign.
Any sign that advertises or indicates the person occupying the premises on which the sign is erected or maintained, or the business transacting thereon, or advertises the property itself or any part thereof as for sale or rent, and which contains no other matter. Signs located inside a building which are visible from outside the building are subject to all restrictions
So that'd
contained.
be a window.
Yeah.
The
So
whole,
is that part of their,
Except that B specifically talks about a window. And
But that's a different, that's for a sign definition. That's not an accessory.
okay.
Yeah.
so if they're only allowed certain
dimensions.
square footage, dimensions, and they have a sign like over the business saying what the business is, and then they have another sign that's on the window, on the inside of the window. They both have to meet the sign requirement of only being a certain.
Yep. That's the way I understood it.
Sometimes they couldn't have both then.
Right.
Depending on what
Well,
they have for
we
their,
have our Realtor, and they've got like their window full of tiny signs.
images,
And,
They're images,
Images.
not signs.
images.
Right.
oh,
They're not, right.
all right.
I mean, folks, like my suggestion is that we, sort of go through this and not get too much into the
And into the weeds.
or we're never going to get through it.
Yes.
So,
That would also mean you couldn't put your wares in your window either.
Oh, please.
yeah.
Everything is copyrighted.
All right, so in terms of the equation for conversion, is that yes?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
For the area,
Yeah,
yeah, that works.
okay. All right, okay. Next section in the draft, 6.8.4. In this section, I'm clarifying the planning board and the select board jurisdiction. So, I'm saying what I've put in here is the planning board is the authority that issues permanent sign permits. The select board is the authority, can't speak tonight, that issues sandwich board and temporary sign permits.
But what's,
And that's sort of starting off, making right here from the start, making it clear who handles what. Because that has been sort of confusing in the past as well. Okay?
is there such thing as a semi-permanent sign? I think that was in.
Temporary signs,
A temporary is
Yeah.
a semi-permanent?
yeah. And temporary signs are handled by right here. Select board is the authority that issues sandwich board and temporary sign permits.
I like how you changed it to select board instead of board of select.
Amen, huh?
Select board is like, okay.
Include everybody.
Yes.
Well, we did the sign for the general contractor.
I'm sorry.
We did the sign for the general contractor up on,
At 5 East Street?
yeah,
Yeah,
and that would have been a temporary sign.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Even
So,
though-
yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that for the sandwich board signs and the temporary signs, the select board members are here.
They meet,
More often.
people need these.
Yeah.
They need to move it along,
Right.
So
Yeah.
I agree
Yes.
with that.
They're in town, so, all right, so I'm going to say
No
yes
problem.
to this one. Got my little chemistry pen here. Okay, so moving right ahead, up next, the next change is 6.8.5, standards. And I removed illumination. Nancy might not like that, because
Question.
the reason I removed it is because there are other standards in this section. There's, it's mostly illumination, but it's also all lighting. Where's the other one? It's number C. C says no sign shall have any visibly moving parts or noise-making devices.
Yeah.
So that's why I just made that change. Okay? Is that okay?
Good with me.
Okay. All
How
right.
about the sign on my front lawn?
All right.
So you wouldn't, you know, how people, like, I'm just envisioning B and B with a direct light to that sign off the lawn sometimes. It's not as shaded, but I don't mind those. Those look nice with the way they.
They're backward facing.
But that's sort of a downward. Those
It's
are,
actually an upward use sometimes. I like those.
But it's not flashing,
right on the-
intermittent, or rotating, or anything.
Right.
So I just don't want to, you know, have somebody say, geez, you can't do that now. Because it's not shaded and it's not indirect. It is, well, would be considered part of the sign at all.
There's this thing, you know, no.
Because it's illuminating it separately.
It says, no illuminated sign shall be placed, directed, or beamed on a public way or adjacent premises as to cause glare or a reflection, you know, that may constitute a traffic hazard or nuisance. So, I mean, yeah, I think that kind of addresses your concern there. I mean,
As long as it's not going right in somebody's window.
yeah, I think it's not.
Yeah,
Direct light, yeah.
I'm okay with them. I'm
there's
not,
even a light pollution line here on section E. So, you know, I mean, I think we're pretty covered.
Okay. All right, so, and again, a lot of these changes that I'm making are just clarifying things, very inconsequential. So the next one is like that. It's 6.8.7. In the section preceding it, 6.8.6, you've got permanent signs in all zoning districts. And then 6.8.7, permanent signs in residential zoning districts. I added residential to clarify that, okay, we've gone to residential now. And then in the next section, 6.8.8, now you're going into the business zoning district. Okay? Is that good? Thank you. All right, and then in 6.8.8, question for y'all. I was thinking that it would be good again to add, this is a permanent sign, right? So it's with the planning board. So at the end of that little A section, I thought I would add, the planning board is the permitting authority, just for clarification. So it's very clear.
Sure.
Okay. And then section I and section 2 and section 3, I've tried to reword those, said that those sections are clear. They've caused trouble in the past. In section III, and I've removed the in lieu of that trips people up and changed that to instead. And let's see, in section,
Got a question back up.
I'm sorry, you have a question, Nance? Okay.
For the section 6.8.8 under A and then the I underneath it,
Yeah,
in the original, the bylaw we have now, it was for a non-resident building. Does that?
hold on, let me get to the original. Sorry. That's all right. I'm close to it. Let's see, 6.8.
0.8.
And then you're talking about I? Okay. Yep.
Is it a non-residential Single use.
So I changed that because this was, some of these changes are from when Phil Arnold and Donna Brewer,
Okay.
so, and that was one of them that a number of these changes are from that. I didn't just,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and this section in particular, I've taken, incorporated those changes. Okay? And then in section III, number 1 and number 2, it was select board, but this is a permanent sign. So I've changed that to planning board in both section 1 and section 2.
Okay.
Okay. There's a question about, I haven't removed it because I need to ask Donna about it. One of the comments she had made previously when the board worked on this was that there was a question like, why are you using public way? What is a public way? So I need to touch base with her on that. Okay, and you'll see that sort of, it's still in here. I haven't taken it out or anything. So I'm gonna wait until I have all the questions and then I'll ask Donna all at once. So it's not this sort of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay. All right, and then the next change I have is number 4, again, that was select board. Okay, would now be, we're in the permanent sign, so that's planning board. And then right below that, B, again, public way, I need to ask Donna about that. Okay,
Are you going to ask her what a public way is?
well,
Or better define it?
No, I'm just going to ask her about it because in previous versions, she seemed to want to remove it. So
The word public way?
she didn't seem to like it. Like there was a no, what is public way?
Well, that's my,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, is it because you walk under it, because you drive under it? Because
I thought of it as a street or a sidewalk, but
Yeah.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
But
yeah, she didn't like it.
then why didn't we say street or sidewalk then?
Maybe that's her point.
What else are you gonna describe it as?
Depends what you put in it.
Well, it's not safe.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. Next, 6.8.9, no change until number 2. And this is from, one of those earlier drafts with Phil and Donna. Just for consistency, it's in number 1, so in number 2, I've just provided, however, that no sign shall project more than 6 feet over a parapet wall. It's, the same wording, and it's just, being consistent. And then next, 6.8.10, sandwich board signs. Here, the last sentence of that section A, the select board is the permitting authority for sandwich board signs. And that's just added again for clarification on which board handles it. And
Is there
then,
anything in here that says that they have to have the $1 million umbrella policy?
it's at the end.
Okay.
We didn't put a figure to it, but you can, okay.
I think that's a nice number.
Written out to Gary Pitney. All right, so then under okay, so Roman numeral 7, below that, 1 and 2. I've changed it to select board. It was Board of Selectmen. Number 2 was also, that was planning board, so I've changed that to select board. Okay? All right, so then Roman numeral, the next page, Roman numeral 15. That was planning board, and now that's select board. The select board may refuse to issue a sandwich board sign permit to an establishment whose display, blah, blah, blah. And then I just reworded that just slightly to make it read better. And I didn't do it in this version, but I would take out the and. So it would read like this. The select board may refuse to issue a sandwich board sign permit to an establishment whose display of a sandwich board sign has violated section 6.8 or caused a nuisance that resulted in the imposition of a fine or penalty, and so on. Okay? And then section Roman numeral 16, again, that was Board of Selectmen, and I made that Select Board. Okay, so municipal, section 6.8.11, municipally owned directory signs. The only change is from Board of Selectmen to Select Board. Here we get to that $1 million umbrella policy, 6.8.12. No changes there except from Board of Selectmen to Select Board. And then 6.8.13, no changes. Abandoned signs, no changes. Administration and enforcement, in section A, I removed the public way wording because that was, done in a previous draft when we worked on this with Phil and Donna had her input. And again, I need to ask about that. Okay. And then B, section B, that was planning board. And now this is for, section B is for sandwich board sign permits. So administration and enforcement should be with the. So B has been changed to select board. Yeah, it was planning board, now it's select board. And then the same in the last sentence in section B, it's select board, it was planning board. Temporary signs, section C, it's basically the same, just Board of Selectmen to Select Board. I think I removed some unnecessary wording. And that's it.
Well, it looks great to me. I mean, thanks for doing all this, this cutting and pasting and editing and so forth. I mean, it's good.
Yeah, my thought.
I mean, I think that the main thing is, the definitions. Do you want them with the bylaw or at the beginning of the bylaw?
Yes.
With the bylaw? That's what I would vote for.
I
You
would
too?
go with it.
Yeah, okay.
And what about the, that other iteration where the signs, if they fit into the architecture of the building, are we going to just scrap
Oh,
that?
yeah.
I think
I
we
thought
should.
that we
That's
should.
confusing.
I thought it
I
was
have to say.
confusing. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
when we talked about this before, we were saying, okay, let's just start with, getting it clear. And then, once we've gotten it to a level where we feel this is clearer, more clear and easier to read and work with, then we could address, something else.
Why don't you like that?
Because I think it gives unfair advantage to a very limited number of people to have bigger signs and more signs.
I mean, I think it's a loophole unless you assign a date to it. So, that would be a concern for me.
Well, I think it's also confusing. I mean,
Yeah, it's
I can understand the thought behind it, but I don't necessarily follow the application.
It seemed to arise out of one situation here in town.
Right, okay.
And,
So they wouldn't be eliminated from using it.
No.
This wouldn't be, they'd
They have to stay within the
as part
confines of
30
the,
feet.
yeah. Oh, they can certainly use them. They just have to stay within the dimensional requirements. And then the other sticky wicket we've got is the signs in the windows, because I can just think offhand, there's Lee Bank, who has the tree and it
I
says
know.
Lee Bank.
It's much larger than the allowed.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then you got the lamb with the, picture frame and the thing, and the flags. and
Yep.
Everything else, so.
A lot going on there.
Poisson.
Busy, yeah. So I had a question where it's saying $50 fine, like $50. Is that like realistic? Hasn't that been $50 like forever? Because all the fines in town have gone up, so I didn't know if they,
Where is that, Nancy? And I didn't really focus on the fines too much.
I don't know, my glasses.
Temporary
You
signs
could make me
be.
nauseous, but-
all
What page,
at the
Wayne?
bottom, 8.
Is that a one-time fine or how?
Are there,
I think
The
if
daily.
that's
they
what
don't
you're
remove,
talking-
Daily.
I don't know.
the sign by a certain time or day or something, they get $50 fine plus, or $50 fine plus.
Non-compliant sign and
$50 per
bill.
day,
I hear
Yeah.
total.
but the
Per
sign's
day.
displayed, so it's per day, so.
Yeah,
I think that would be an incentive.
That's
So is it worth
Do people
250 a
do
week?
that quite a bit? Do people do that quite a bit?
I don't know.
I don't,
Has anybody ever been fined?
I don't, yeah, no, I don't think
highly
anyone.
doubt it.
Yeah, because who's going to actually,
You know, look, I mean, for a lot of this stuff, we're complaint driven and it's there in case you need it. And I support it for that reason.
okay.
Yeah.
I was just wondering.
So, you know, so in terms of like the decals, if the board wants to pick that up, you know, my suggestion is that we, you know, make a decision on finalizing this stuff and then work with it a little bit. I mean, we have to wait for a town meeting.
Yep.
Work with it a little bit and then, you know, take it up another step if that's what you want to do.
Well, I think that if
I
you
mean-
leave this the way it is, then those window signs, I would have to say, are probably non-compliant.
That's right.
And
And what happens then if they're,
well, I don't know.
$50 a day.
No, that's for temporary
Temporary.
signs.
yeah,
Well, if you're not compliant, then, you know, this is not a special permit. It's sort of cut and dried. So if you're non-compliant, then, and you want to go to the building inspector about it, we can do that.
did Lee Bank come for a permit when they put their window? I don't,
I don't think so. I mean, I think they consider it like a decoration. I really, I'm not sure they consider it a sign, you know, but I don't know. I don't,
My guess is they just didn't know, you know?
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah.
'cause it's always.
Because I mean, I don't think that people think when you put something in the window that it's a sign.
I mean, there was an accident that the window was
Right.
destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just replace it.
And they replaced the window and they thought, aha.
We had a chance there.
Well,
It
and
was the same
it
sign,
serves the
it was the
purpose,
same
though.
sign before
Is there
the,
a decal there before?
before the car
I
crash.
think there
Yeah.
was.
It was exactly
I
the
was,
same.
but I mean, the purpose it serves is that, you know, that window is there, they're doing business in there, you know, that's where the main officer of the bank, you know, talks to somebody or whatever. So it's kind of like a shade. I get that piece, but, you know, maybe you have to buy a blind or something, you know?
Maybe people won't run into it then.
I mean,
Well, it would
it's,
have to be like a hologram or something.
it's definitely advertising. So why don't we do this? We've gone over it and, you know, why don't we sleep on it until the next meeting? And keep in mind that this was, you know, these changes are for clarification. So sleep on it and then, you know, think about the decals. We can work on that now or we can wait, you know, but I want to hear from the rest of you on that.
What else does Lee Bank have there for signage?
You've got to sign up above,
That's.
They have their sign up above.
above, yeah.
I think all they have is directional signs for the drive-through.
Yep.
I don't know if the coffee shop has a sign in the window now or not.
Used to.
Stockbridge Coffee and Tea. Well, they've got that cute little kettle
Yeah,
and then they've got,
but I think they did that and their sign is the window.
there's something in the window?
I think so. I think it says Stockbridge Coffee and Tea, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're fine,
Yeah.
probably. But then again, we have to measure it.
I think we should all go out with tape measures.
Yeah.
Go around town.
Bill's so keen, Bill's so keen to do that.
That's the only way we'll figure it out. It's in my car.
Did you know Bill, Wayne?
No.
No, okay. Jack Spencer told me that Bill Selke would go around with his tape measure. He said,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, my gosh.
you knew Bill, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So,
All right, I'll sleep on it.
Yeah, how about it?
Very
And
good.
you have to talk with Donna too.
well, I'm going to wait because I want to, when I have the sense that there's no loose ends and everything,
But do we feel comfortable with proposing this to town council and kind of moving it forward?
I do,
Yeah.
but I want to hear
I think
from.
it's pretty good.
Good.
Does it go to the selectmen and then town council?
Yeah, we would.
It's that whole process of going to, and they may have some,
They may
Yeah,
have some
Yeah.
changes they'd like or
Sure.
additions.
yeah.
We haven't changed anything dramatically.
No,
No.
Just added.
it's just
It's
clarification.
more of a courtesy.
yeah, it's more like that.
Clarification more than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just- The goal here is to
Well,
make
that's what we
it
would present it as.
easier to work with,
Yeah.
I've sat through a number of those.
Yeah.
They've always been fun.
Anyway, do we need to vote on this?
Yeah, it's good to vote.
Okay.
All right.
I would move to accept the changes proposed.
I thought we were sleeping.
We're sleeping on.
Oh, sleeping. I moved to sleep.
Until next time, I'd second.
I mean, if everyone's ready to go, I'll definitely,
Yeah,
Okay.
So do you all want to sleep on it? I mean, Carl's ready to vote. I'm ready to vote. I mean, I've been,
I don't need to sleep on it.
okay, all right. So Carl, you want to make
Go
a
after
motion?
Carl.
I'll make a motion to accept the changes proposed to the sign bylaw.
Second.
Okay,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Great.
all right. Okay, so I will talk to Mike and ask him, what next? Has anybody heard anything about, I thought we were going to be having a traffic study town meeting. Has anyone heard anything about that?
I've heard.
Traffic study of what?
The
Well,
$1 million.
to review the-
The roundabout?
No,
review the plan that they.
the plan,
Crosswalks.
the intersection, the crosswalks and the raised
It was on
areas.
the,
On the
when
wall for
those
quite a while.
things were
All right.
closed, it was on there.
Jennifer, have you heard anything or? Yeah. So we may be on next year at town meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you're talking to Mike, just ask him what his thoughts are on signs that are windows that are
Right.
signs.
How would he?
And then and then if he's, and then Donna would be the other one probably to get a feel for what's going on with those things
Right.
globally.
So since we voted on it, I will now talk to Mike and I will also talk to Donna. Okay.
Is a flag considered a sign?
Apparently not.
No,
I just wondered.
it's not.
I think someone asked me about that and I actually,
That's still a good
I
question.
looked at
though.
it and I just can't remember what I arrived at, but there is a town, whoever brought up that there is a town that has flags in their sign regulation. So if you want, I can look at it, but it
It just doesn't seem like a
seems a little.
problem.
Yeah, no.
No, and it's,
Well, it depends. I mean, I think that, there's the open sign
Right.
or the open flag.
Right.
Then there's the flag that makes a statement,
a personal.
and that's free speech perhaps. I don't know. But it all gets a little murky.
Yeah, well, this is my neighbor in South Lee with the Confederate flag in his window. But that's South Lee.
And it's in his window? So it's not outside, so. there's nothing
It's
to do
inside,
there.
yes.
Right.
It used to be outside.
Oh, dear.
That's
So,
maybe why it's inside now.
Okay, so the things that blow up and do this, are those flags?
Like in automobile dealerships, those guys? Yeah, I don't know what. I would say they're attention getters. I don't know what else they are.
I would make a motion not to have those in town.
Oh, yeah,
Well, I think, Liz, I looked at that and I'm trying to find where it was. Hold on.
just don't think they
There
could.
was something that basically
What do you?
Ugly.
blow up sign.
Yeah.
I think
Inflatables.
Personal choice.
Inflatables. There is something that addresses that, and I'm just trying to find
Moving-
moving parts. Yeah,
Oh, the moving parts?
yeah, yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
No undulating signs.
They're just, it's that car hardware. All
Okay, good. Feel much better.
right,
Oh, my gosh.
Go ahead.
We digress.
I was going to make a
Are
motion.
we done with that?
Yeah,
The girl that was helping us with the parking prior and some other things, are we just done with her now? Or we just,
she's working with Mike on a open space plan for the town. So her time is being well used. And she's, I can ask Mike what she's doing, but my feeling was that, you know, based on the feedback that we got, I felt like we needed to sit here and make the decisions ourselves. I just don't feel like this is something where we need somebody walking us through it.
A consultant, no.
Yeah, this is sort of nuts and bolts stuff,
Mm-hmm.
so.
are we back to considering an open space bylaw change? What kind of open space discussion is she working on?
She's working on, it's not an open space bylaw, she's working, so towns are encouraged by the state to have, it's like a master plan, but it's for land. And it's a land use plan. And when they do that, I think Lee has done that or is doing it. I think Lennox has. When you do that, once you do that, you qualify for state grants. So.
We've done so much homework on that project, and the fact of the matter is that.
Which project?
between Open space, in Stockbridge specifically.
No, but this is different. So what Mike has Carol working on is not a bylaw.
No, I'm not
Yeah,
talking about
okay.
bylaw. I'm
All
talking
right,
about-
okay.
I'm just saying about like the overview.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but between the land trusts and Berkshire Natural Resources, you know, I mean, I don't know, I mean, I spent 10 years working on a map. I mean, it's out of date by now, but the fact of the matter is that it's not that out of date. I mean, the information is there. You know,
Yeah.
they won't have to dig very hard.
I was going
I'm all in favor of them, like, you know, going ahead and like, you know, updating and taking a look, but, you know, there is a lot
I
of
know.
information, and it comes from like 20 different directions, and.
Laurel
it has
Hill
to
did
be-
a forest, I was going
Oh,
through
yeah.
files this weekend, and Laurel Hill had a forest management
I
plan.
don't know, there's Laurel Hill, there's BNRC, there's the
She's
town.
working on
there's-
specifically, do you know?
You know what, I'm gonna look up the actual wording that the state, I'll look it up and I'll send it around to everyone.
That would be
Okay,
helpful.
There on Thursdays.
There's properties that the Conservation Commission oversees, there's stuff that the state
Yeah.
is in
yeah,
charge of. I mean,
Well,
it's.
Can she come?
It's
Can we ask,
confusing.
could we ask for either Mike or for her to come and just do an update report to see
Sure.
where we are, just so we
Yep.
can answer these questions?
Because
Yeah,
the planning board's
great idea.
paying her, correct?
we are, yep.
And on another note, I know we modified or denied the fencing with a contractor's name on it for Riggs when they were doing their renovation, and I see
Allegroni.
another one.
I
Yeah,
just saw it today.
I saw it, yeah.
So I think we have to
All right, I'll talk to Ned.
call to somebody and say,
Yep, I saw it, yep. I'll talk to Ned about that. Yeah, we should be consistent.
Jennifer?
They had to throw that up because they had nothing around the statue and because of Josh Billings. I don't know if they're gonna keep it up there,
Okay.
but.
Oh, they didn't want anybody climbing on the scaffolding, right?
It was kind of
Yeah.
an emergency thing.
Oh, it's not
It's
permanent?
for the Civil War Memorial there? or-
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
All right, okay, so I'll look into that. Yep. Okay. Anything else?
That's it?
Other than
Nancy,
instead of black. it
do
should
you
be
want to
green.
do your update at the next meeting?
Yeah, I have it right here.
All right, I'll put you,
Actually, it's from July.
I'll put you on the agenda for the next meeting.
Well, they didn't meet in August,
Yeah.
and the September meeting is next Thursday, is the annual meeting. So I
Okay,
can report on the annual meeting if you want.
sure.
Perfect.
Okay, so Nancy down for BRPCA. All right.
Sure, Regional Planning Commission.
Okay, all right, so I've got, let's see, land use plan, get the official wording out to you guys. Ask Mike and or Kara to come do an update. Talk to Ned about the Soldiers Monument and get Nancy on the agenda. And we have a special permit at the next meeting, October 4th, I think it is. So did everybody, Liz, if you want to do a site visit, you can.
Okay,
You can ask for it and,
I think I should. It's complicated.
it's a good idea, yeah. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move so.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.